is Randy Tillotson. Received a liver and kidney transplant 7 years ago. That was done at Houston Methodist in Houston. I had polycystic kidneys. It's a genetic disease. My dad had it, his mother had it, and out of the siblings, you have a 50-50 chance of passing it on. Us three boys had it. Our two sisters did not. So we knew that we would have to have a transplant eventually. I had a transplant from a friend, and that was back in 2013. And that lasted exactly 20 months that I got the phone call that my kidney was failing and went to the hospital. It took me over a year to recover from that. And when I was ready to get back on the transplant list, they told me that I was also having genetic liver issues. And so I had to go onto the liver list. So I was now needing a liver and a kidney. From that, it took about a year before I got the phone call to go to Houston Methodist that I was able to receive a liver and kidney. That's three boys. My oldest brother got a kidney from my sister over 26 years ago. And then my younger brother and I both had transplants probably about a year apart. And mine lasted, like I said, right 20 months and then failed. And that's when they found out, the genetic liver issue. So I was having to have both. I knew, unfortunately, when I was 12 years old. My dad was already on dialysis at the time. I was about 12 years old playing soccer, and I got kneed in the kidney. I was the goalie, and I started passing blood. And so they told my parents to take me to my dad's doctor. And at 12 years old, they could feel the side of my abdomen and feel the cyst already growing on the kidneys. So at 12 years old, I knew that I would be having to have a transplant. My other siblings did not know at that time whether if they were positive or negative for the polycystic kidney. What I always like to do is when I'm speaking with people, I always ask everybody to make a fist, make two fists, put them together. That's about how big your heart is. If you pull them apart, that's how big your kidneys are. Of course, they're in the back. So I'll show you how big my kidneys were when they took them out. So here is the size of an average kidney. That is a 12-ounce bottle of Dr. Pepper, which is about the size of yours. When they took mine out, they were 17 and 22 pounds. So that kind of gives you a reference of how big mine are compared to an average kidney. So at that time, they were the largest ones the nephrologist, the surgeon had ever removed was 17 and 22 pounds. The issues that I had was I was having ammonia attacks. I was on dialysis at the time, waiting for the phone call. I'd been going to Houston pretty regularly just for visits to make sure that I was ready for the call. And I would all of a sudden wake up and I would be in the hospital. My ammonia would spike and I would just be totally out of it. And I learned as I was coming out of it to look because I would open my eyes. I'm like, are we in a hotel? Where are we at? Because I had no idea. And I learned to look behind me and I would see the IV pole and I'd be like, I'm in the hospital. And so this became more and more regular. And at that time, I was having my abdomen drained, and I was draining anywhere from 5 to 13 liters of fluid every other week. We're all very fortunate. We got five siblings, including myself. So we've got spouses. So there's 10 plus kids and all that stuff to help. We all help each other. We all live very close, probably within 20 miles of each other. So anytime I would be in the hospital, one of the siblings would be there until my wife could get out through to school teaching, and then she would immediately be at the hospital, or if she had to take me to the hospital, depending on what the situation was. And so we have a very close network. And even when I was in Houston at Nora's home, I had family members and friends that came and stayed with me for the 3 months that I had to stay there after my transplant. Nora's home is a beautiful place. So it is set up for transplant patients before, during, and after transplants. That each room has two queen-size beds, your own bathroom. There is a community kitchen, community living room, and community family room to watch TV. There's game rooms. They have doubled the size of it, and it's very affordable. It's a clean, safe place for transplant patients to be waiting for a transplant or have had one and stay there and go back whenever I have to go back for follow-ups. I stay at Norris. And so it's just a great place to go there and talk to other people that may be waiting on a kidney or liver, even heart, lung transplant, that you get to talk to and talk about medications, what you've been through, what issues they're having that you can help them with. And, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm an avid golfer, I'm a pit master, and I always say that my ministry is through food. And so anytime I go back to Nora's home, I cook barbecue for everybody there. So it's a great time to gather everybody together and give the caregivers a night off that they don't have to cook for their person that they're there for to take care of. So there's no medical there. You have to have a caregiver there with you. I had gone to Houston for a follow-up visit and was told it would probably be another 3 months before I would get a phone call that I was 11th on the waiting list. And got home on Thursday, went to dialysis on Friday. And Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, I got a phone call that said, Randy, this is the transplant team. We need you to come to Houston. So my sister was already ready to take my wife and I there, and we left immediately. And after having the transplant, when I came out, it was a 2 day operation. I went in on Saturday and I woke up on Monday. And when the surgeons were in my room, they told me, they said, you have Cadillac parts in you. And after I wrote my letter and was able to meet the family, I began finding out more about my hero who's given me the gift of time. It's Michael Thompson. He was 27 years old. And the Saturday that I had the transplant, he and his girlfriend were supposed to have a gender reveal party, and he was going to surprise propose to her. So I'm not sure what happened to him. I haven't asked. No one has told me. But what a tragedy that this beautiful young man was about to engage and find out the gender of his first child, which he ended up having a boy. I got to play in a benefit golf tournament that benefits his son for a college scholarship fund. And I've now gotten to meet his entire family and his girlfriend. So I got to meet his son, very nice young man, 6 years old. And it was a great time meeting everybody and taking pictures together. I mean, I go back each year and play in the golf tournament. I'll be going to play in Team Texas at the Transplant Games in Colorado, and Michael's mother is going. So at the past golf tournament, I told everybody that I was part of Team Texas and that I would be going, and that she would be able to go. And so she came to me afterwards and goes, "Yes, I would love to go." So we've been working on that. Team Texas is, think of the Olympics. You have every country sends a team of Olympians to go do all sorts of sports, whether it's winter or summer. And for transplant games, they do the same thing, but it's a team from Texas, a team from every state that goes, and they have opening ceremonies that we all walk in with our flag. And after all the different states have come in, the donors' families come in. And I hear that it's a very emotional time for this event. It's my first time to go, so I'm very much looking forward to it and going playing golf, both in the singles and the two-man team, and find out what everything's about. But they do it every other year. They had it in Alabama the year before. Now it's in Colorado this year, and I forgot where it's going to be in 28. But uh, it's a time to go and celebrate and show people what the gift of life does as far as giving organs and allowing people to continue on their lives through transplant. Like I've said, Michael has given me the gift of time. I've been able to watch my daughter grow up and then watch her start her first job and her boyfriend and all that. Be with my wife. We'll be celebrating our 37th anniversary coming up when we go to Colorado next year. So it's just given me the time to go back to work. I love my job and what I do and my employees and everything. It's allowed me to continue on to do my ministry through food. I cook for a men's group that has 80 to 100 men that show up 2 times a year out in the middle of a ranch out under the beautiful stars, and I cook for them all for 3 days. So it's allowed me to do uh, barbecues for weddings, anniversaries, any celebration, birthday, whatnot, and even cook for our church. So it's just given me time to be with my family and continue my life in good health. I always ask people to recycle themselves and give the gift of time to somebody else, whether it be through skin, bone, eye, retina, organ donation when you've passed. If you haven't signed up, please sign up because you can save another life. You can save several lives. Michael, my donor, saved 8 lives that night. And I've written my letter to his mom. And the first time we got to speak on Zoom, and I was telling my story, and I told her that the surgeon had told me that he had saved 8 lives. She said, I didn't know that. So she was very grateful that I had told her that Michael not only saving me, but 7 other people through organs. So it's a great way to give back. What are you going to do with it when you pass? I mean, I tell my story along people that have lost children. It breaks my heart. I cry through it when they're telling their story about losing their child. but then they tell me how that their child saved so many lives, kids that could not see, kids that had defective hearts and organs, that they've given them life and they can go on. And so it's just a beautiful way to give back.